So this is the Huawei Pura 80 Ultra. It might just be the most versatile camera phone out right now. It's got a 2 optical telephoto lenses, ultra high-res 1-inch sensor, and Huawei's signature image processing, which is built for serious mobile photography. But how does it really work in the real world? So let's check it out. So to be honest, this phone is really awesome because of that camera system you're getting here, the 1-inch 50 megapixel sensor, which we'll talk a little bit more about later on, and the dual optical telephoto lens is really powerful stuff. And the display that you get here is also really gorgeous at 6.8 inch, and it's a curved LTPO OLED display with 1 to 120 Hz adaptive refresh rate. The battery that you get here is also really nice, and you're also given 100 watts wired fast charging and 80 watts wireless charging. So you also get great specs here in Malaysia: 16 gigabytes of RAM with 512 gigabytes of storage, one spec, one price. And the performance of the chipset here you get with the Kirin 9020 is also fast, games are smooth even at maxed out graphics. And finally, just look at this phone. The camera design is just impressive and gives you that very luxurious feel. So what could be better here? First, there isn't 5G support, at least in Malaysia, mostly not Huawei's fault. Also, you get limited Google services. You can still work around and get most of your apps, but nonetheless, it's still a workaround. If you consume a lot of YouTube like I do, the app only goes upwards of 1080p, so you need to use the browser YouTube to get the full 4K support. And although the 9.4x lens is fantastic, but in low light, you still suffer slightly. With this, you need to use the 3.7x lens for better results. Also, having this curved display is amazing and very classy, but that results in us not being able to use a tempered glass screen protector. And you can use only a silicone one that needs to be frequently changed because it scratches a lot more easily. So in Malaysia, there is only one model for the Huawei Pura 80 Ultra, coming in at 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage with a price tag of 6,599 Malaysia ringgit. And if you find value in what you hear and like what you see, do subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so the YouTube algorithm can pick this up. And if you want to buy this phone, do check out my links below. So the display you get with this phone is gorgeous, and you're getting a large 6.8 inch curved display. And it also comes with a nice LTPO OLED display that generates beautiful color and very deep blacks. This is great especially for viewing content, watching movie, or even editing videos and shooting contents. This is a great display for that. You also get a 2848 by 1276 resolution, which is almost 2K resolution but not there yet. But you also get a beautiful 460 pixel per inch, making this a very sharp display to use. And for most day-to-day consumption, this is a very nice phone to use. You also get Huawei's adaptive high dynamic refresh rate that runs from 1 to 120 Hz, so when the phone is doing nothing and idling, it's not going to use up extra battery to power the screen. And I really love the curved display that you get here, making the phone look extra premium, and it also feels very nice to hold in the hands. But as I'll mention later on in the design section, screen protector may be a problem. So with my standard battery test, here are my test results with the 5170 mAh battery with my standard YouTube test that I run through with all my phones. I'll do a full screen, full brightness, and play YouTube at maximum resolution, and here are my results. At the first few hours, I saw the battery performance is actually very efficient, almost the best that I've tested so far. And for the first 2 hours, it only dropped about 2% per hour, which is insanely good. So all in all, this year's Huawei's flagship manages 18 hours and 10 minutes in total with full brightness, and it is honestly extremely bright, and I am really impressed with the performance you get even though I've pushed it so much. However, as compared to Samsung's flagship S25 Ultra that I've tested, that phone almost have a 24 hours battery life. So yeah, something to think about. So this phone comes with a Kirin 9020 octa-core processor, which is Huawei's flagship processor used on their high-end phones, and performance that you get here is very impressive. So Huawei also specs this phone with a 16 gigs of RAM, giving you very smooth performance with all of your tasks and even with high performance gaming. However, one thing to take note of is that if you use the downloaded YouTube application on this phone, regardless of the quality of the video, you are only getting a maximum of 1080p resolution with no HDR. But if you use the browser version of YouTube, then you suddenly get 4K resolution, but again with no HDR. And I tried playing any 8K content on YouTube and you're still getting a maximum of 4K resolution. Gaming with PUBG is good, and you get to play the game using the highest settings at Ultra HDR settings, Ultra frame rate. Gameplay here is pretty smooth and you get a consistent 30 to 40 frames per second, but so far I've not achieved anything above 60 frames per second. So in the Malaysian model, you're only getting 512GB of storage and there isn't any expandable storage, but 512 is still a very good amount of storage. So I've talked about the design of this phone, and this phone has a very nice form factor and is very easy and nice to hold in the hands. And what I like about it is the slight weight that you have with this phone. It's not very heavy, coming in at 233.5 grams, giving it a very premium feel when you're holding the phone. Unlike some flagships that are very light, making it feel like a toy. And again, at the front, you're going to get that beautiful display. Huawei gives you a curved design so that it feels very smooth on the corners here, making it really nice to hold. However, this does come with a drawback, meaning you cannot use tempered glass protectors. Rather, you have to use silicone types, which might scratch easily. So I'm not too sure whether you can see, but on the pre-applied screen protector here, I already got some scratches here. This is because I brought it out and I put it in the same pocket where I have coins and key. So it kind of scratched up the screen protector a little bit. But fortunately, this is easily remedied, so just switch out the screen protector and you're good to go. And at the back, you get this gorgeous design, and you get two colors this year, a gold one here that I have, as well as a black model. But for both, you will also get the gold rim around the camera lens, so this is how you know that it's an Ultra, not the Pro. So behind the phone is also very simple. You only get a Huawei branding here, and all your camera is inside this dazzling forward symbol. You get all the buttons on the side to control your volume, as well as the power button, and this power button also works as a fingerprint sensor. And you also get stereo speakers with this phone, so one at the bottom and one at the top. You also get a Type-C charging port that supports Huawei's super fast charging up to 100 watts. You also get your SIM tray here, then there is no expandable storage with this model. And what I love about having any Huawei device is that they will always pair you with their case, so you don't have to go out look for one and to get it. And this year you also get this nice case that comes along with the Ultra inside the box. So all you gotta do is just put your phone in there, snap it on, and you have protection from day one. And it looks pretty nice as well. So one of the key selling points of this Huawei's flagship is definitely the camera, and I've shown some of my friends the camera setup here, and most of them were quite shocked at how big that module really is at the back. This is because it houses very impressive capabilities, and for most companies, a lot of them start cramping bigger and bigger megapixels, so you see upwards of 100, 200 megapixel cameras. But from a photography standpoint, having more megapixel doesn't equal to a better image, and there is where Huawei got it right. Not only that you get 50 megapixel lens, but Huawei also puts in a 1-inch ultra lightning HDR sensor with a variable aperture from f1.6 to f4, making this one of the most amazing main sensor lens on a phone. And the photo quality you get with the main sensor is honestly insane. In beautiful sunlight, the photos appear sharp from corner to corner, you get beautiful dynamic range, and even without portrait mode turned on, natively the camera also provides you with beautiful bokeh. So I tried this both in outdoor settings as well as an indoor church settings with a very variable lighting, and the main sensor just churns out beautiful images. And you also get a 40 megapixel ultra wide angle lens with an f2.2 aperture, giving you plenty of resolution when shooting in ultra wide scenarios. Most phones still uses 12 megapixel ultra wide lens, which frankly isn't enough resolution. But for the ultra wide lens, 40 to 50 megapixel is a sweet spot for ultra wide shots to get some resolution. And I think where this phone excels is definitely the telephoto cameras, and Huawei uses an innovative track-style switchable telephoto camera technology, so you have two lenses running on the track that focuses light onto a single sensor. The result of that is that you get to use a bigger sensor, which is a 1/1.28-inch sensor, making it the largest telephoto sensor on the market right now, even larger than the telephoto sensor on the Samsung S25 Ultra, and equally as large as the main sensor on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. With that said, you get beautiful 50MP 3.7x optical zoom shots at f2.4 aperture, as well as a 12.5MP 9.4x optical zoom for that extra reach. And for all your telephoto shots, especially under beautiful bright sunlight, this lens doesn't disappoint at all. In darker situations, like for example in a concert or a church setting, I found that the 3.7x zoom works much better than the 9.4x, mainly thanks to the megapixel count number 1, and somehow when fully zoomed in my hands, 9.7, I start to shake a lot in dim lighting situations, so try to not zoom all the way out. So at the front, you also get a 30MP selfie camera. This is a wide-angle lens with f2.0 aperture, which is a pretty basic lens, nothing too much to shout about, but overall it gives you a very pleasing selfie shot. Video-wise, you're getting a maximum of 4K 60 frames per second on this phone, and there isn't any option to move up to 120 frames per second or even shoot at 24 frames per second. So sound quality you get with this phone is fantastic, and the dual speaker units put out very nice stereo sound, and sound quality is generally very dynamic without sounding flat, but of course what you're losing out here is the bass performance. The volume is also good, and you generally get volume that can cover an entire bedroom with no problem. Overall, I love this phone, and I'm super happy with the camera results I get with this phone. I'll be traveling soon, and I'm definitely bringing this phone for my travel shots, and in my opinion, Huawei is throwing everything they can except the kitchen sink into their flagship this year, and I really like this approach. Year after year, their flagships just gets better and better. So if you want to check out other smartphone reviews on my channel, click on this playlist right over here. And if you want to check out my latest video, click on this video right over here. And I'll see you over at those videos.